what does the world look like if everyone's using it? Suddenly you start having to think about the cloud, you start having to think about security, you start having to think about how does this scale, you start thinking about content distribution networks and so on. I want to play that same game with large language models and agentic AI and the future of agentic AI. Let's imagine that every website that you visit regularly replaced a substantial part of their interface with AI generated content, right? So, I mean, and it might not be ChatGPT. It could be a much lighter version of AI generated content. Maybe it is just directing or summarizing text in a certain way, in a way that you like it, or summarizing the stories that you like. Now that leads to a whole host of new problems because the internet was not designed for effectively an internet of AI agents, right? It was not designed for a world where everything on this internet is an AI agent, because there are all sorts of unique challenges that arise. First, there's just the raw compute, right? That it's like, how are we going to build the data centers to manage that kind of load? Second, there's also new security questions, right? What does cybersecurity look like in that world, right? Now, these are not just static websites where you can lose your password. They're static websites that can leak data in weird ways. They can interact with each other, can have weird feedback loops, can ruin the reputation of your company by saying something odd, right? So there's like all sorts of new cybersecurity threats that arise and all sorts of new data leakage vectors that arise. So what I'm really now focused on, or actually I'm a algorithms researcher by training, but as this world of AI has opened up, I think that focusing on what does that cybersecurity infrastructure and what does that scaling infrastructure look like is really the focus of my research going forward, and I'm excited for that world. And
where will this security be needed for the average person? Maybe not someone that's working at a company, but again, just average person.
Oh, I like so many things, right? That when you are talking to ChatGPT, it is like you're entering in data, right? And you could potentially be entering in personal data in that interaction, right? Now, that's one thing, right? So it should be seen as no different than entering your credit card information into an e-commerce website. It's like you're still submitting personal data and the things that you're submitting. You might be uploading a resume and saying, hey, hey, can you make this better? That has your email, that has your address, that has your job history, that has a whole bunch of information, right? Now, more subtly, right? So that's kind of a classical cybersecurity problem with like a new twist, but all sorts of new cybersecurity problems arise as well, right? Like, let's imagine that you're a company and you want to build an access control interface to your large language model. That means that it needs to say some things to some people, but other things to other people, right? Like, for example, if children are visiting your website, you talk with certain language. And if somebody else is visiting your website, you talk with other language. If one of your engineers is accessing this product, maybe you need to break the glass and allow it to have no safeguards on it so they can really debug what's going on, right? Now, we take that kind of access control for granted on good old-fashioned databases, right? I can set up an access control rule that says people from this IP address, people from this region can only access this table. People from here can only access this fact. Large language models, they're fully a data product, right? They're, in many ways, they're like a database. You can ask it questions and it gives you answers. That access control infrastructure doesn't exist, right? Now, I think that when we think about the future of an internet, right, all of those things matter, right? What takes a piece of software from being a demoware and being something that is a novelty to something that is productionized and something that people can use are all of those small pieces.
Okay. So to the average user, will there be a need for much security or at least warnings, like warning anything you enter in here could be used publicly, click here to keep it private? How is this going to differ from like corporations using AI?
Good. So I think the answer is going to be a little bit of all of the above. I think that we still need to understand, how do humans perceive AI, right? I tell students, like, if you wouldn't tell something to a nosy neighbor, you probably shouldn't tell it to a free version of these AI tools. I think that's one way to think about it, right? It's like, who knows what their data retention is going to look like? Who knows if some of that data is going to be regurgitated in the future? We just don't know, right? That's kind of one side of it. I think the other side of it is that, look, I mean, like, there are all sorts of cybersecurity threats that we are talking about now that we weren't even talking about 15 years ago, right? Like ransomwares and DDoSes and all of those arose because of the scale, diversity, interconnectedness of the internet. Now, if you suddenly change the technology, right, and you say that, okay, now these are not just static web pages or database-backed portals. These are actually intelligent agents that have state and so on. Interesting problems happen, right? What happens if, let's say that there's a chatbot on a news website that helps you understand what the news of the day is, right?